Let's get to your props on the week. The first one is one of our returning champions, DeAndre Hopkins. Tell us what you're going to do with DeAndre.
Yeah, DeAndre Hopkins, longest reception over. This is available already at 21.5 yards, and I love it. That's a pretty low number considering how often he's been hitting the over. I've been sticking with this, and it looked like maybe I was being stubborn for a moment, but he has bounced back with a couple wins, and it's now 4-2 since Will Levis took over at quarterback. And Levis is the reason why we're playing this. Levis is throwing it 15 or more yards downfield on 31% of his attempts. That's the highest rate in the league. 21% of his attempts are 20 or more yards downfield, also the highest rate in the league. And both of those are by pretty wide margins too. He's easily the most aggressive quarterback in the league right now. And he's not completing a huge percentage of those, but he's just throwing downfield at such a high rate. And Hopkins is obviously on the receiving end of most of those. And so, with playing this longest reception prop as opposed to his, yardage prop or whatnot, we only need one of those completions. If he's seeing multiple opportunities downfield every game, he's just got to haul in one of those. So it doesn't need to be a productive passing game to win this prop. And over the last 6 weeks, Hopkins has 23 targets at 15 or more yards downfield. That's 3.8 per game. Only CeeDee Lamb has seen more in that span. So if he's getting 3 or 4 opportunities, he's only got to come down with one of them. I like those odds a lot.
Yeah, no, I agree. And he also has the narrative of them fighting last week. So if you're looking for even a little extra motivation, a lot of times the noisy wide receivers do seem to make a good play. You mentioned CeeDee Lamb, obviously one of the hottest players in the league, and you want his receptions over this week.
Yeah, I'll be on the over on his receptions at 5.5, or 7.5. I'm on the over on that. And it's actually plus money, which I like too. He's hit the over in 5 of his last 7 games on his receptions prop. And the only times he missed were again in really non-competitive games against Carolina and Washington. And in this matchup against the Eagles, obviously we expect this to be a pretty good game, potentially a shootout too, which would certainly bode well for him hitting the over. The last time these teams met, he had 11 catches on 16 targets. So a little bit of recent history here against this defense. And the Eagles defense is a factor in this also. They have not been quite as good as I think a lot of people expected this season. And also because their offense is very good, they force teams to play at a little bit of a faster pace, push the tempo on offense, which, just leads to higher scoring games, leads to more completions. And in fact, they are allowing a league high 26 completions per game. So in this type of game where we think it's going to be high scoring, it's the highest total on the whole slate by a bit of a margin too, which is surprising. I think it's the only game that's over 50 points. I believe this is 51 right now. So it's going to be a higher scoring game, a little bit of a recent history here. And then also the Eagles specific defensive scheme is a factor here too, because they're one of the few teams that plays a pretty high rate of single high coverage, 63% rate outside the red zone. That means more one-on-one opportunities for CeeDee Lamb. Of course, the Cowboys want to get him the ball in those situations. So he sees a 31% target share against single high coverages compared to 23% against two high. So we got a lot of factors lining up in our favor in this game. So with this over at 7.5 and it being plus money too, I like this one a lot.